Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you an entry into what I guess I'm doing as a series. So, I have been thinking some thoughts, some theories about Valorant. And with, the conversation about Breach being, kicking up more and more across several analysts, that, yeah, Breach comps usually don't look that great outside of one other initiator. And Breach is down here in red because yeah, solo initiator doesn't work. I would never recommend that to somebody. I'd never say never, I guess. But for the rest of them, I have them based on like if they're solo and then who they get to be paired up with typically. And if you look at it, turns out we're not doing a great job of pairing them on certain maps or like trying other things. Which is weird because why is Fate seem to be the queen of initiation in this situation? Ba-dum-dum. But, I was thinking about it, and for me, one thing with Breach is that I feel that when you treat the stun as the punishment for getting scanned, you're not doing much. You are now just asking your duelist to go in there and hopefully in 2.5 seconds kill the stunned person, stun and scanned person, right? Compared to if you take what was happening, I guess I should have just left that over here with Tejo, who only has one drone. So out of the initiators, you were getting one piece of information. Yeah, take the scan. I mean, you take the stun, and then you drop a missile on their face and your duelist doesn't have to go back there and die possibly because somebody else might be holding them, right? Like it just works out that way. Now, mind you, Tejo was giga broken then, but I think about it. We treat Breach currently as the response versus the initiation, right? Initiation being the one that gets it started. It's more like step 2 or 3 for a lot of things, and that's not entirely true. But looking at it, kind of is. Because you treat Breach in the manner that, well, I'm not going to ever solo Breach. So once my other initiator has done something, that's when Breach comes in handy. And then, of course, there's other issues like map design and where it's like, alright, if I plant it here, I just have to hope that this reaches, right? Like, does it? No, not really, right? Plant in the corner safe. No, not doing it. Oh, I planted on stairs. Oh, I have to stand like here and pray. Like, right? But then looking at the issue at large, you see that Fade. We've seen Fade paired with Breach and KO on Fracture. We've seen Fade paired with Gecko on Bind. We've currently been seeing Fade and Tejo on things like Pearl. Then you go to Sova, who has always been damn near a 1-to-1 as Fade, and if anything, Fade was the carbon copy, right? There's just like, well, we need something else. Yet, we don't see Sova with, like, Sky or Gecko, even though there's some things there that I think we should be exploring. Or, I say we, who the fuck is this guy? He hasn't joined the team. But pro teams, or maybe a premier team if you want to try some shit, uh, it seems like there's some things being missed out because yeah, it's different to stun somebody and then try to get a shock dart on them. But what if they are detained and then you ult them, right? What if that? What if now that there's a scan, I know where to drive this fucking fish instead of wasting most of my timer looking for people, right? What if, yeah, after I let Wingman plant it, I can have shock darts and mosh for the after plant, right? For the post plant. I just feel like there's some things there that are just being underutilized. We've kind of seen Salvatejo a little bit, but like not to the same extent that I've been seeing Fade Tejo recently. And then if you go with the Salvatejo, well, they better hope you never get the spike down. Because, excuse me, have a nice day. I see you. I saw you. Fuck you. And your mama too. And then anybody else. Like, so it's kind of interesting that while we've been talking about how 11.08 has made initiation kind of worse, right? We haven't seemed to branch out yet in how to make it better. Now, the obvious answer for most people would be, all right, still just hope that your now one initiator um, does their thing, and then just make another thing that got nerfed less, do it again. But mind you, the controllers also got nerfed. So it's kind of interesting that it's like, all right, now let's go even more on Omen or Astra plus Viper, even though they also got nerfed. It's weird that initiators get seen as, well, fuck those guys, let's drop them first. Instead of, well, maybe there's a discussion to be had about doing some true heresy and bringing double scan. Where, I don't know, a Fade Tether into a Shock Dart might do something. A Fade Nightfall into some Shock Darts might do something. Prowler into some Shock Darts. Hell, Fade Nightfall into Hunter's Fury. Maybe there's room for that. But more so, coming back over to Sova, and maybe we start having this discussion of, well, alright, what about Thresh Hunter's Fury, Armageddon Hunter's Fury setups, right? Like we all know that, alright, if I do this, even though you shouldn't do it this way, you should do it the other way. But, for a different map, I don't feel like rotating the map. But what if, go about it this way, right? You're right there. Feel like there's things that are right there. And Sky, it seems to be solo or nothing. Because, well, Sky gives you information, gives you a flash, gives you information again with the ult. But I feel like if you can follow a jellyfish for your big fish, that's half the battle done, right? We can get Mosh Pit on somebody that's stunned by Trailblazer. And then still have there we go. Wingman to clear out shit that we needed to anyway. And we don't need to spend Trailblazer at the spots that we would usually to get more value out of it. Because here's the thing, right? Usually with the drones, you're using them to check close. That way you don't check it with your face. Meanwhile, on Gecko, you have two that can tell you if somebody's around in close corner, and then save Trailblazer or Owl Drone for further distances where you actually need to figure that out. Dizzy has like a 45-meter activation range last time, if I got that right when I was checking like the file, so that's crazy on top of that. But, won't get around the corners. But I'm just saying, there's seems to be some things that we're missing out on that, I don't know, could work. And coming back to Fate, I already talked about one bit of heresy. Now, team comps probably don't have it in their repertoire to do a do a Fade Sky situation, and that's a lot of time in which one member of your team, at least one member of your team, is kind of stationary. Meanwhile, you don't have that issue with Gecko because you throw out like literally 3 out of 4. One of them can become stationary and go about it that way. But Sky Dog, I mean, you're kind of stationary, kind of not. With Fade Prowler, you can let that motherfucker go too. And there's not a lot of flow between, Fade and Sky. Like, you could Trailblaze somebody further after you clear out close with Prowlers. You could tether somebody that you can guiding light people in the face after they've been revealed with Nightfall. So, like, yeah, maybe not those two. Like, I can understand why you wouldn't go Fade Sky. But I think Phase Sova might be a little bit entertaining. I think there's a chance that you can drop one of these here. Coming to the other ones, let's get real absurd. Where's my where's my Tejo Gecko and my Gecko Breach, right? Where's my Gecko that throws Dizzy up, and because this flash gets turned by everybody and their mother, they turn this flash, but then they get Dizzy Juice on their face. Or they shoot Dizzy and get flashed by a Breach for once, right? They get stunned, and then you drop a mosh on their face, right? Where's some of this? Especially here, right? I do kind of miss the days of the lineups. Not gonna lie, do miss not to say they're gone, but it looks like a lot of play has definitely moved away from relying on it as heavy, right? As they should, because if somebody's not standing in the spot you expect them to, it's chalked. But if you could do this off rip, like as soon as barrier drops, somebody that's hiding back here, yeah, take them out. Or I shouldn't even say barrier drops. Maybe that's for the post plant. Or retake, I should say, for the retake. And you could do this safely before you expose yourself like a jackass. More or less safely, right? Especially if you're coming from, I guess, here. You tell your team this is the retake angle. Both you and, well, you all come from here and get that drop. I don't know where the lineup for this is. I haven't gone in the server to check, and I might do that after this. But, something like that, I kind of miss where that might just be a confirmed kill. And then, hell, maybe Breach is actually useful in that regard, because if you're stunning there, that gives you leeway to get this here. Now, mind you, you could just say this could be Tejo, right? This could be Tejo anyway. And that is one thing where you would be trading Armageddon for wingman plans and flashes galore, more or less. Like, more flashes, which, how much do you value those, right? It depends on how much your comp and you as a person values those. But it also depends on what the rest of your team looks like. If you are going the way of, yeah, I need even more information, so Yoru become a drone, Waylay become a drone, might not be as beneficial to go the Gecko route. But I will say a Gecko detained that is being led by an invisible and tangible Yoru. The Yoru gets a free kill instead of possibly inting and coming out of it with a shorty and hoping that they win that battle. And being able to recollect fucking Thresh to do it again. There is a chance that if you do both of these close, you detain, and you pick up Thresh again, and wow, Yoru is still going. Now, mind you, you won't have Thresh by the end of Yoru's Rift Walk, but, just saying. And then you have something like a Waylay, who, if you are going the way of a Gecko Sova angle, compared to a Tejo Breach, again, pick your poison. I'm not saying that this would be great, but we have just seen, I shouldn't say just seen because somebody probably did it, but one thing that we just saw on Soup, I think it was the Soup tournament. Waylay drops Saturate on somebody's face, and then Hunter's Fury that person. That could also be Waylay Saturate some group of people, Gecko Thresh another group of people. And then you got Hunter's Fury out the ass on everybody, right? Could be a thing on that front. But, again, that's all saying if you're not going that angle. Coming over to Tejo and Tejo Gecko, right? Tejo, get the drone out. Again, well, it's invisible for a while if that's followed behind a Dizzy. Alright, well, they either get gooped on the face or they shoot the drone. Power to them if they can manage to get both of them in one fell swoop. But if they don't get one or the other, they either get gooped or they get suppressed. And then you have a stun that can also, the same way that happened with Breach, be a mosh pit follow up. Could be a thresh detain that turns into either salvos or Armageddon, right? So I would like for initiators out of all the classes to be experimented with the most this off season. I gotta admit, I've been seeing some pretty good clove stuff. Meaning that they won. But there's some things there too, and if you, which I didn't expect this to be, I guess, a series, but if you looked at my thoughts on controllers, there's some underrated shit there with clove. But yeah, I think that maybe initiators need to try, or teams should try some more on shaking up what initiators are with who, because might as well in the off season, right? Especially you look at it, KO's damn near like nowhere, right? Where's my KO Sky? Where off the back of a Trailblazer, I got null command going off. Where's my Gecko KO? Where off the back of a detain, there's a fragment grenade and a flash to get Thresh into there, or a suppress so that you can't run away from Thresh. I don't know, some of that shit. But as you look at it, like shit, I'm surprised that we haven't seen more KO Tejo. We've seen a little bit of it on Pearl. I would like to see more of it. In general, like just make it suppressed for fucking days. That way, if they shoot the damn drone, right? They shoot the drone. That's before the Sentinel gets spotted, or when the Sentinel is spotted. If the Sentinel gets spotted, let's go with again. Well, go here. Spot the Sentinel. They shoot it. All right. Well, that sounds like that's going to be a KO knife to the face. That way, my damn Jet and whoever else can get on the site and not have to worry about it. Just saying, this seems free as fuck. Me like taking out the utility on the site that could stop you from getting onto the site. Oh, is the Viper hiding here? Where's let's go with this. Oh, I see you, Viper. Guess what? Oh, SpaghettiOs. You shot the drone, but guess what? Now your shit is still coming down. And I feel like we need to see more of that. So I say all this to say that, yeah, initiators probably lacking a bit in the friendship department. So I would like to see teams get on some more experimentation, because while we are doubling down on nerf controllers, right? You might as well double down further on nerfed initiators and see what happens. Maybe if 60 seconds feels too bad to have a scan, bring two of them so you always have a scan, more or less, right? As long as you don't fuck that pattern up. If you need more utility, bring more utility. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on initiators right now. So hey, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.